There has been a lot going around this week about the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback situation, from Mike Tomlin naming Mason Rudolph the starter, to Kenny Pickett being benched, to also Mitchell Trubisky. So, this is everything you need to know about the situation, and we're going to start off with Mike Tomlin naming Mason Rudolph the starter once again for this upcoming week against the Ravens in the last week of the season. So, at the beginning of the week, in Mike Tomlin's press conference, getting ready for the game against the Ravens and recapping last week, he was asked many questions about the QB situation, as expected. And he basically said that they're sticking with Mason Rudolph and he's getting the ball. But he was also asked some questions around Kenny Pickett. Because if you remember, for this game against the Seahawks, Kenny Pickett was actually inactive. Many people thought it was maybe because he was still dealing with his ankle injury, and they just didn't want to take a chance with him, and that's why he wouldn't be backing up Mason Rudolph. Well, no. Mike Tomlin, he basically confirmed that Kenny Pickett was healthy enough to play, but they decided not to play him and make him inactive because of the limited reps that he was getting in practice, and they felt more comfortable basically with Mitchell Trubisky as the backup. And that's when everything started. Because now everyone is talking about, hey, the Steelers don't trust Kenny Pickett, and they're going to move on for him because they don't even want to play him and don't want to even have him as the backup anymore, and he's inactive. The Steelers don't trust him anymore. He's going to be inactive. That's what everything was saying. That's what the whole story was about, because Mike Tomlin could have just said he was still injured. We're protecting him. He's not ready yet. We're going to go with Mason Rudolph and Mitchell Trubisky because those are the last two quarterbacks to play. So that's when everything kind of started and the whole kind of outburst happened around Kenny Pickett. And then it was revealed by Mark Madden and some other people that Kenny Pickett actually did not even want to play in the game. He did not want to be the backup, so he actually asked to be inactive and did not want to be the backup, so he was a third quarterback and made inactive. But then it was revealed by Kenny Pickett himself the next day, because I guess there's so much talk going around about Kenny Pickett and how he's a bad teammate because of that. So he actually had to clear some stuff up yesterday talking about the situation, and he cleared up saying that there's been a lot of talk going around about his name that has been bad, and he basically confirmed that did not happen. He just wasn't ready, and basically he was made inactive because of it. And that did not happen. He did not ask to be inactive. He did not ask not to be the backup, and he's not mad about the situation. But obviously he wants to play because he feels as though he could play and help the team. So, Mike Tomlin, he was also asked in his press conference if Kenny Pickett would be inactive once again this week, or would he be the backup in the Ravens game. And he answered it like this. Again, I don't have a crystal ball, but I anticipate his availability being less of an issue this week. We'll see what a week leads us. So, once again, he did not give a confirmed answer. He always does that. He does not give you a confirmed answer. We just have to wait. But if Kenny Pickett is made inactive, it makes you kind of wonder what's really going on behind the scenes of why he's not the backup, even though he's supposed to be the starter. But Mason Rudolph is just playing good right now, so that's why Mason Rudolph is the starter. If they trust Kenny Pickett so much, why would they make your starter inactive and not at least make him the backup? It would just kind of make you wonder of what's really going on behind the scenes if they're looking into the future, seeing that he's not ready to be the Steelers quarterback of the future and might have to go out and get a guy, whether it's in free agency or through the draft. So it will make you wonder if he's not actually going to be the backup when he's fully healthy. Also, one last thing that Mike Tomlin was asked about in his press conference was, just say the Steelers do make the playoffs and they win this last game, they have things happen for them, and they end up making it. And Mason Rudolph basically wins the final 3 games. Would they turn back to Kenny Pickett in the playoffs? Would he be the starter, or would Mason Rudolph be the starter? And obviously, I believe they would still stick with Mason Rudolph, but he was asked this question in his press conference, and he basically gave no answer at all and actually made a shocking remark because of it. It had many people talking, the fans, because he did leave the light on for Pickett to return in the playoffs. Tomlin basically said it would be about how Rudolph and the offense performed against the Ravens. That would play into the decision of who would start in a playoff game if the Steelers qualified. And he also said looking into the future is fruitless on whether Mason Rudolph would start or Kenny Pickett would start. But obviously, he did not give a confirmed answer that it would be Mason Rudolph. I understand why, because they're not in the playoffs right now, but he could have easily said, Mason Rudolph is rolling, we're sticking with him. But obviously, he left the window open, and many people are talking about it, saying if Kenny Pickett would start a playoff game after everything Mason Rudolph just did, it would probably be one of the worst decisions of Mike Tomlin's career at who's starting, because you can't switch a guy in the playoffs, someone who has no playoff experience. I understand Mason Rudolph doesn't either, but Mason Rudolph has got you rolling 3 wins in a row, and if you were to switch back to Kenny Pickett, it would be a terrible decision. Obviously, we're just going to have to wait and see if the Steelers do end up being the Ravens. Will the Ravens rest their players? Will they not? Or will Miami beat Buffalo? Or will some other things happen where Steelers come make the playoffs? We're obviously going to have to wait and see, and then to see the decision that Mike Tomlin makes, and then we all overreact to it. But just looking at Mason Rudolph, giving him some praise here, he's done a really good job these past 2 weeks on just making the right decisions, not escaping from the pocket, not rolling out the backside or not rolling out the front side. He's done a really good job just sticking in the pocket no matter what. No matter if there's pressure in his face, he's staying in the pocket and he's making the throws on time. He doesn't care about getting hit. He's not scared of getting hit. Other quarterbacks that we had throughout the season, Kenny Pickett, what did he always do? He always escaped the pressure too early and missed throws because of it. He would escape through the back door and roll out and then get sacked. Mitchell Trubisky, what did he do? He always tried to escape the pocket. His eyes went from being on the field to moving down and looking away. And once you take your eyes away from the play is over. And that's what Mason Rudolph does best. He's the only quarterback as of right now on the roster that when there's pressure in his face, he's not fazed by it. He stands in the pocket. There's that one play where he made that throw to George Pickens where he had to kind of stretch out down the right sideline and grab it, where he barely even moved in the pocket. There's players going to be all over him at the end of the play. What did he do? He did one little pump fake, barely moved, threw the ball on a line, and made the play to George Pickens. He was not afraid to stay in the pocket. And I guess he's not afraid of staying in the pocket. You think he would be. You would think if there was a quarterback on the roster who's going to be most afraid of the pressure, it might be Mason Rudolph. You know why? Because you remember that game against the Ravens, back when Earl Thomas knocked him out? He was in the pocket, he took the big hit to his face, and got knocked out the game. He got completely knocked out, KO'd, and he had to be taken out the game. So you remember that? You would think Mason Rudolph would be the one to be more afraid of the pressure and try to escape the pressure and take his eyes off the field. But no, it's the difference. He's actually the one who's not afraid of the pressure and makes the throws on time. And that's what he does best. Makes the routine throws routinely. You hear Mike Tomlin say that, routinely. You have to make the routine plays routinely. And that is what Mason Rudolph does, that Kenny Pickett and Mitchell Trubisky was just not doing, and that's why he's having so much success in this offense, and that's why it seems like the mojo of the Steelers players and wide receivers and playmakers are back. It seems like the players on the field are gravitating towards Mason Rudolph, getting behind him, and knowing now that they actually have a chance to win the game. I'm going to get more into it in a different video, but is it weird that I feel more confident in the Steelers' passing game and their offense right now than I do with their defense getting stops? Maybe it's because all the injured players and their secondary being so depleted, but I feel more confident last game that the Steelers were going to score than actually stop the Seahawks. And that's the first time it happened this season. But with that being said, this is just kind of my rant on the situation and kind of giving the update and summarize the whole situation that people were talking about the quarterback situation, what happened with Mike Tomlin, Kenny Pickett, Mitchell Trubisky, and that whole situation, and Mason Rudolph. But if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel down below If you like Steelers content, analysis, and reports, like the video, turn on post notifications down below for this channel as well, so you get notified whenever I post the next Steelers video. I post every single day, so stay tuned to the channel. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all later. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.